Traditional financial services organisations use the classic data warehouse for structured data. Banks have a lot of structured data. So for financial reporting, risk management, marketing analytics, customer analytics, all of that can be stored in a data warehouse and analysed using the various tools to access that data. Big data applications can be used to analyse that data more quickly. There are new techniques associated with big data that allow you to look at patterns much more easily, very quickly. You can look at managing risk more effectively. You can look at marketing more effectively. These sort of applications allow bankers and the analytics teams to do things very rapidly these days. Some banks failed, and a lot of that was to do with more the way they were managing risk in those organisations. Others got themselves into trouble because they did not have a single view of the business. So they had data scattered all over the globe because these were global financial services organisations. A lot of it had to do with the way they were managing their organisations in terms of internal compliance. And then they had difficulty in assembling all of that data to really understand what their exposure was. So there's some very good examples there during September 2008 where banks just couldn't get their hands on the data they needed to be able to satisfy the regulators around how much money they needed to be bailed out. And that was primarily because they didn't have the right sort of architecture and the right sort of compliance in place for managing data. A lot of it comes down to understanding the business. So what are the business requirements? So, the technology teams need to get very close to business. They need to work hand in hand with business to understand what their requirements are. They then need to architect the solution based on creating a single view of the business that's going to serve the different stakeholders in an organisation. Because each stakeholder has their own unique needs. They may share some of that data, but they want to use that, turn that data into information and use it for business purposes, for marketing, risk, finance, operations. The upshot of all of that is that you need to have very tight integration between business and IT when designing your warehouse. The real challenge in digital banking is the fact that banks need to have a single view of the customer across all of their channels real time, because that's the way consumers are operating now. So I can start a transaction on my mobile device and I may want to pop into a branch and talk to them about some of the information that's required to complete that transaction, let's say a loan. So real time is critical. Single view of the customer across all of the channels is critical, and an adequate way of sort of communicating with customers. So providing some real-time communications or providing things like real-time risk management reports is absolutely necessary in a digital world. I think today anybody designing a data warehouse needs to take into consideration big data. So a lot of it comes down to what is the business requirements? What's the pressing need that I have when I'm designing the data warehouse? We advocate enterprise-wide data warehouses, but you need to start somewhere. If you try and build a big bang approach to building a data warehouse, it's going to take you a number of years, you're going to spend a lot of money, and the likelihood of success is going to be limited. If you start with very small incremental projects and build out on top of that, you'll get an enterprise data warehouse that provides analytical solutions for the traditional structured sort of data, financial reporting, risk management, but you'll also be able to use big data technology to analyse relevant problems and relevant business challenges.